Solomon, are you there?
Yes.
Hi.
I'm gonna get the translation going in a second.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Rhonda, you have your hand up?
I do. I want to speak from the floor.
Okay, great. From the floor? Okay, sounds good.
From the floor. Yes.
Gotcha. All right, I'll promote you when it's time.
Thank you.
Hi, David. Thank you again.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
It took a minute. Do we have everybody here?
Not everyone. Trustee Guiona Mendoza is not here.
It's Trustee Wilson. I don't see her.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I saw her name for a second. So.
All right, let's give it one more
Nope, she's
minute
not here.
while I pull up the agenda.
Oh, and Reese, obviously,
Interesting.
Oh, there she is. I'm promoting her. So Sharifa's joining now.
Great. All right.
And Trustee Guiona too.
Hello, hello.
Everybody's.
Everybody's here?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So I will open and start the Ravenswood City School District Board of Trustees regular session, board meeting session of October 22nd, 2020 at 7:17 p.m. Roll call, please.
President Polito,
Present.
Vice President Wilson,
Here.
Trustee Fitch,
Here.
Trustee Guyona,
Yeah.
Trustee Shibomahi.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum present. So we will move to the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, if there are no changes, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I make a
I
motion
move for approval of the agenda.
Thank you, Trustee on a second. Yes?
Yes, second.
So roll call, please.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona,
Aye.
Trustee Shibomahi.
Aye. Thank you. Motion carries 5-0. I do want to briefly mention, I should have done so. We did not have a closed session. This is why I am not making any report out to the community as to what took place, because there was no items on closed session tonight. So let's move to item 3, which is the approval of minutes for October 8th. Are there any changes or questions? If there are, wait, I think someone is saying, oh, sorry. Okay, if there are no speakers,
Oh,
then I will,
I'm sorry. Are we on from the floor or minutes?
no, we're at minutes.
Okay, no speakers.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
I'll make the motion that we approve of the meeting
I make a
Minutes
motion to
of-
approve the minutes.
October 8th.
Okay, so Trustee Wilson motions, Trustee Gana seconds. Roll call, please.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona,
Aye.
Trustee Shibomahi.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 5-0. That takes us to from the floor. We are now opening comments on any items that are not agendized. Speakers do have a limit to speak for 2 minutes as they do with the rest of the agenda. And we cannot take action or discuss, but we can listen. So are there any speakers?
Yes, Rhonda White should be able to speak now. Oh, or almost. There she is.
Ms. White?
Here she comes. So I promoted you, Rhonda.
There she goes.
There she is. Unmute.
Muted herself.
Oh, she disappeared.
Sorry.
Oh, there she is.
So Rhonda, quick question. Are you speaking as the RTA president, union rep, or as the mother?
RTA President.
All right, so then she will have 5 minutes per our agreement with the union.
Thank you, and I'll try not to use them all. Good evening, Board President Polito, trustees, Superintendent Sudaria, families, students, colleagues, and members of the community. My name is Rhonda White, and I'm the president of Ravenswood Teachers Association. I would like to address the board about the conduct of trustee Guyona Mendoza during the candidate forums over the past few weeks. She has made several statements that have either been misguided, misinformed, or she's just too lazy to fact check them. One, she has said that Ravenswood City School District has hired a bunch of uncredentialed teachers that are all on waivers. We know that this is not true. Every teacher that is hired must have a credential. Whether that credential is internship or preliminary, it is still a credential that is valid by the state of California. So that comment was misguided, misinformed, or she's just too lazy to fact check. She's also made several slanderous comments about bad teachers not being compassionate enough to work with our kids, or even pull their hair and leave marks on them. I'm not going to even comment about the comments that she's making about teachers. They're just slanderous. But what I will make a comment about is whatever incidences that have occurred during school, the district has policies and protocols that must be followed in order to ascertain what is going on. But more importantly, I'm concerned about the confidentiality of her mentioning these things in public for our students and our staff. Her negative tone, unprofessional behavior, and her inappropriate comments about staff is startling. And I'm just shocked and perplexed that County Council has not spoken with her about her behavior and how and the progress that we have made over the past 2 years. We have a 5-year strategic plan that we're going strong on. We have a fully operational and staffed middle school. Yes, can we do better? Of course, but I don't think we knock down and tear down the people that are in the trenches every day. So I hope that the trustee will stop spreading misguided misinformation and fact check so that she doesn't get the district in trouble, but more importantly, so that people know the truth. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Everything has been recorded, so it's not the same you're saying it. Thank you. That's all I'm gonna say. It's not the same you're saying it. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have other speakers?
No one else has raised their hand. If you want to speak to the board on unagendized items, please raise your hand. No one is raising their hand.
Got it. All right. Well, that will allow us to move to item 5, which is the consent agenda. And there were no items pulled, so I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona,
Aye.
Trustee Shibomahine.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries 5-0. That will allow us to go to item 6, which are public hearings related to the State Board of Education waiver for the surplus property.
Yes, so Will Eager, our CBO, will introduce the public hearing information.
Good evening, trustees. As many of you know from last week, we are actively, with guidance from you, both in May and last week, seeking a waiver that would give the district greater flexibility in selecting a future tenant for both the flood site and the Menlo Oak site. Similar to our sort of procedures last week, we are separating the two procedures. So we are going to have 2 public hearings sort of back to back here. Again, just the waiver here allows us flexibility in choosing a future tenant, which I think is sort of best for everyone involved, and it doesn't sort of bind us to take necessarily the highest bidder, although we would of course have that option as well. Are there any questions before we begin the public hearing, or should we give the public an opportunity to comment.
Board, is there any discussion or questions you have immediately for Will before we go into the public hearing?
I don't.
All right, then I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
I make a motion to open the public hearing.
Excuse me, President Polito, there are two public hearings that must take place, 6A and 6B.
Okay, this is for the item we're on, which is 6A, for the lease in relation to the surplus district real property at flood site. So Trustee Gaona made a motion to open the public hearing. I will second it. At roll call.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona,
Aye.
Trustee Shabal-Maheen.
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any speakers?
No one has raised their hand. If you want to comment on the public hearing, please raise your hand. Nope, no one.
Okay, we have no
There is
speakers.
a, sorry, someone just raised their hand.
Got it.
It's Rhonda White. Hold on. I'm going to promote you, Ms. White. And there you are.
Good evening, board and trustees. I just wanted to say that we want to thank Superintendent Sudaria and Will Egger for keeping the RTA, the union, informed about this process the whole way, and we are in full support of this endeavor. So
All right, thank you for those comments. Given that that is our only speaker, I will then adjourn this public hearing. That will allow us to move into 6B in relation to the Mellow Oak sites. And we will also have a public hearing, but I don't know if you have any remarks. All right, so then I will entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the Mellow Oak site surplus property waiver.
I'll make that motion that we open the public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been second and roll call, please.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona,
Aye.
Trustee Shabal-Maheen.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We are now open to hear from the public. Are there any speakers, Solomon? Please raise your hand if you'd like to speak.
No one has raised their hand.
Okay, then I think that will allow us to adjourn this item as well.
Thank you
So,
for your support, trustees.
worries. And I don't see it agendized as any related action item, so this is just the public hearing. Okay. So let's move on to Superintendent's office, and we get to have a really cool start this evening. We are highlighting, so part of our strategic plan was to find opportunities to highlight and celebrate staff, to boost morale and to let teachers and staff know how they're appreciated. And this has, one of the ways that we decided to do that was to include a special superintendent board recognition at our board meetings around our core values, our 5 core values. And if you're looking at the agenda, it's about being student-centered, empowerment, innovation, respect, excellence, integrity. Those are going to be the themes around these recognitions. And we are going to be starting with student-centered core value. And that is that we ensure that students are at the center of every decision we make. And I'm happy that as we launch this, And as I'm currently the president, that we launch it with this core value. This is absolutely my favorite of all. They're all equally important and valuable, and they all play a role. But I love when we were able to remind ourselves that despite differences of opinion or discussions on what's the best way forward, we remember to put students at the forefront and at the center of everything that we do. So I'm very, very happy that we get to launch this series with the Student-Centered Award. And a part of this was a committee that came together that had to do with different staff members, the president. And currently we don't have a parent, but I'm hoping we're going to be able to include a parent at some point to also be able to participate. And anyone can nominate anyone from any school site. And it can be a teacher, it could be a classified certificated. It's not excluding anyone. So this is an exciting time for us to be able to just create focus on the incredible staff we have. And with that said, I will hand it over to our interim superintendent, who will go over who are our, I don't know, staff that are being highlighted tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, President Polito. Yes, we are very excited. And the first staff member to be recognized is Kimberly Dayton, a 6th grade special education teacher from the Cesar Chavez Ravenswood Middle School. And specifically, she's being honored because Kim partners incredibly closely with parents. When teachers and parents have trusting relationships, they can bridge the gap between school and home. When that gap is bridged, students achieve an increased rate. When she moved from 5th grade to 6th grade, all of the students and families were elated to hear that Miss Dayton was going with them. We already have 4th and 5th grade families looking forward to having Miss Dayton's support when they reach the 6th grade. All of this is because Kim genuinely cares about the success of each one of her students and goes above and beyond to support them. Our next staff member is Andrea Reyna, 8th grade ELA social studies teacher from the Cesar Chavez Ravenswood Middle School. Maestra Reyna, not a new teacher, is a new teacher to Ravenswood City School District. She is someone who understands our students and has from day one reached out to our 8th grade students. She has made a connection to the students by creating a community among them with her. She has created a trust amongst her students. Maestra Reyna's focus during meetings with colleagues is always about students. Her perspective is authentic. Her comments cause someone to think about the students, to maybe stop and pause, to sympathize or empathize for and with our students. I would say that her education pedagogy is student-centered. Yay, yes. Our third employee is John Delamano. John Delamano is a 3rd grade teacher at Castaño School of the Arts. Mr. Delamano spends hours and hours reaching out to our kids and parents to connect and make sure they know what is going on in class and to make sure they are doing okay. He is constantly looking to find ways to connect and build relationships with his kids and their entire family. He makes home visits and even spent some of his summer days Zooming with kids. Everything he does is about our kids and making sure they get what they need. Each morning, he comes prepared and ready to teach his kids and give them the best. Pre-COVID, he was often seen out at lunch playing soccer and spending time with all of our kids. Now with our current COVID Zoom world, during his breaks, he is often playing Roblox or Hangman with his class. He is constantly thinking about his lessons and how he can increase engagement online. He is always striving to build meaningful relationships with his class. He is always thinking about kids and being completely student-centered with every action he makes. The next staff member is Alex Quezada, principal at Los Robles Ronald Mcnair Academy. His #1 priority and focus is completely student-centered and student-first. He strives to make sure that students' needs are met, that each and every one has the tools at hand to succeed. He is always available and accessible to parents and always willing to help until the problem or issue is solved. I love working for someone who not only puts students first, but also cares about their well-being and emotional, physical state. He goes above and beyond to accommodate the needs of each individual student. He doesn't settle for, oh, well, or that's all we can do for you. He is an approachable person, and students, parents, and as well as teachers need a leader like that. Julie Gaspari, Vice Principal at Cesar Chavez Ravenswood Middle School. Julie is always available for any students. Julie is always available for any student's needs. She is kind and patient. Julie understands that kids need to be heard. She treats the student not only as a student, but as an individual. Julie maintains the integrity of the student while still guiding them to success. Her willingness to support every situation following up on it is such a wonderful feeling of safety for the school community. She uses clear coping mechanisms and looks beyond the initial emotion the child is feeling. Her pleasant and caring demeanor gets results. So I believe, well, special thanks, of course, to the Staff Recognition Committee. And you can see there that we have President Polito as representation of the board, Amanda Kemp, Principal at Cesar Chavez Ravenswood Middle School, Claudia Conti, Program Specialist, Aida Campara, our PBIS Coordinator, Student Services, and Oppo Okikiriari, the Vice President of CSEA, and Rhonda White, President of the Ravenswood Teachers Association. And Tony, I believe we do have staff who are recognized today present. And so if that is the case, Solomon, I'm wondering if we can just do a quick shout out and make sure that we can see those individuals. So the first is Kim. I'm not sure if Kim is actually present.
I don't
And
see
then,
Mhm. Raise your hand if you're present.
yes, please. Awesome.
Great. I'm going to promote you. Maestra Reina. Right there.
And as you are promoted, if you can turn off your camera, and I would love to reintroduce you again.
Turn it on.
Go ahead, turn it on, Maestra. And I'll go ahead and reintroduce you all one more time.
Did we say anything?
Soon, soon. I would love for you to say something because that is the only way that your face pops up on the Zoom for the attendees. So in a second when I introduce you.
Yep, I think that might be it.
Okay, that's great. John Delamano, teacher at Castaña School, if you can say hello so that we can see your face as you pop up.
Gina, if they could say a few words if they'd like.
Oh, yes, President Polito. John Delamano.
Yeah, just hello. And I was totally not expecting to get nominated. It was definitely really flattering. This whole Zoom format is new to me, so I'm like trying to get my bearings around that, honestly, at the moment. Yeah, I was just really, very flattered and not expecting to get nominated. And it actually really meant a lot to me and was very, I mean, this has obviously been a really kind of trying time. So it was nice to get, I don't know, it just made me feel really good. So thank you. And I much appreciation. And that's all I got because the Zoom meeting is freaking me out.
No problem, John. And also this is the first time, as President Polito mentioned. And so we are learning about this process and we will probably have a different format as we move forward each month. Maestra Reina.
Good evening. Thank you all so much. I'm like trying not to just like totally melt and lose it. I am so honored to be recognized by the district, by the board, by my colleagues. My kiddos mean the world to me. I even have a kiddo just a few houses down the street, and I do whatever I can to serve the needs of our kiddos, to make sure the curriculum is reaching their needs, to make sure that we're being the strongest student advocates that we can, because it's what our kids deserve. It's why so many of us came into education, to make sure that the generation that's being raised up is going to be even more empowered and even just share their strong, beautiful voices. And I'm so excited that Ms. Udaria got to come see some of our kiddos today, and that Trustee Wilson will be visiting our class next week as well. Thank you all so much for this great honor. I truly appreciate it. Mil gracias.
Thank you. Julie Gaspari, Vice Principal at Sister Charles Ravenswood Middle School.
Oh, I'm misting up like Maestra Reina. I don't think I can be quite as articulate. I'm surprised. I am just blown away. And I just have to say, this is the easiest place in the world to be student-centered. Our kids are amazing. Our families are amazing. And the community that supports our amazing families, from our district office to our sites to our school board, all always have the best needs of our students. So it makes it super easy to join in on that. So thank you. And I'm going to mute so that I don't start tearing up. But thank you.
And then Principal Alex Quezada of Los Robles Ronald Mcnair Academy.
I'm here. It took a while to get online. Well, definitely thank you. I'm glad to have been recognized. And I think what immediately comes to mind is that the recognition in reality reflects the work of our staff. Everyone from the custodian to our yard duty, our teachers, of course, our classified staff and certificated staff. It's really a recognition of all of the supporting departments like technology, student services, special ed, maintenance and ops, finance, C&I. And I think we all have the same goal, which is it's a drive to provide the best schooling and learning experience for our students, for our families. And I think that as long as we support each other and we all share in that goal, we all share in that recognition, and that's kind of how I felt when I heard about this. So thank you, and thank everyone for supporting me, supporting our staff, and I hope you feel supported by me as well.
Well, it was great to hear from all of you. We're really excited to have individuals such as yourselves that are putting students first and at the center of everything as part of our team. So congratulations, thank you. And this is just one small token of our appreciation. I'm sure we'll continue to find other ways to show our appreciation towards all our staff. So thank you very much.
Through the chair.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you to you and all the wonderful staff who are on this committee. I don't know whose idea this was, but this is amazing. And congratulations to everyone who received this award, and thank you, but also thank you to the committee for doing this. This is really special. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right.
Can I say a few words, Ms. Pulido?
I'm sorry, what?
I have.
Am I the only one that can't hear her?
You frozen.
You froze.
Hello. Oh, I'm frozen. Well,
now we can hear you. Now we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Fine. Well, I want to say that I'm very glad that this is happening. We're recognizing our people, because I have said in the forums that we also have good people. I know we do. And I am glad that we have these people. If everything we had was a bunch of bad people, this district wouldn't be better. It is better. It is better, and it's getting better, and it's gonna get even better, because it's not gonna stop here. I'm very glad that everybody's recognized, and I hope that one day Ms. Gaspari will be the principal back when she's ready to be the principal. I think she did a great job. Thank you to everyone, and congratulations. Thank you for the hard work you do. I really appreciate it, because our kids really need people like you. People who they can get connected. But I do want to get more people like that. We need to build connections. The students need to get connected to teachers. So those times when they're having difficulties, they can trust somebody and not go, alone. dealing with whatever they are dealing. And I know right now during COVID is when they're more prone to do that. But I'm glad that these people are there. And again, hope other people, they can look up to these people and to these wonderful people who are being awarded today, and we can improve the district, and we will. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. If there's no other comments, we will now move to item 7B under the superintendent's office, and this will be for the school improvement working group updates.
Correct.
And I will quickly say to Superintendent Sudaria, because I accidentally said interim superintendent.
That's okay.
The item ago, and I had a couple people remind me that you're no longer the interim superintendent.
I let that slide. That's behind us now. Thank you, though. Yes, so I would like to take an opportunity to just give you an update and share information from our last school improvement working group meeting that was held October 14th. Before we do that, I do want to touch upon our why and also collective efficacy to let you know really what you just heard is an example of why teachers and staff want to be here in Ravenswood. It's because of the students. And you can see here, so upon our return from our 3-day weekend observing the Indigenous Peoples Day, we started our morning together at a professional development day to just refocus on the district mission, to reconnect, and then also just to focus on the reason why we decided to serve in Ravenswood City School District. And you can see some of the whys here that staff shared with us in the chat. 213 of us all came together. And when asked what was their why and why do they want to serve in Ravenswood, you can see some of the examples. And all of them in between, so our kids can upgrade Silicon Valley to teaching is my act of justice is an example of why our staff are here. They believe our students are brilliant. They believe our students deserve the best. They want to empower every student. And these are about 10 or so remarks. There were many more that reflected the same sentiments. I also wanted to share with you that we've been working very closely on developing our instructional leadership team. We have begun the work to build collective efficacy alongside our principals and our district leaders. Instructional leadership teams at each site worked together last week to focus on the process for strengthening their school and norming around what high quality instruction looks like. The ILTs at each site have defined collective efficacy and discussed how it can support instructional excellence and equity. And ILTs will continue training and supporting each other to establish collaborative planning structures to support teachers in selecting and creating high quality, standards aligned tasks that drive excellent and equitable outcomes. So amidst the work that we're doing in distance learning, part of our strategic plan, strategic priority number 1, is to ensure we engage students with standards aligned instruction. And so there's a lot of work behind the scenes besides engaging students and preparing and planning instruction for distance learning. So with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and jump right into an update on our school improvement working group. So the school improvement working group met last Wednesday. 26 stakeholders came together and we addressed some key objectives. The first one was for everyone to understand the current situation and share perspectives on how and when we should bring more students and staff back on campus. So Trustee Wilson, along with Marie McKenzie, the Administrative Director for the City of East Palo Alto, shared the context on COVID and public health recommendations in our community. And we come together. You also, President Polito, met with the city along with Trustee Wilson, and we are going to plan how to coordinate efforts to encourage behaviors that change to reduce the spread, or encourage behavior change to reduce the spread. The 26 members then broke off into breakout groups, and there were 2 focus questions. And one was, under what conditions would you feel comfortable recommending more students and staff to come back on campus? And the second was, what do we need to consider to make a smart decision about when and how to bring more kids and staff back on campus? As a working group, the majority of the stakeholders leaned toward not being ready to bring more students and staff back on campus beyond the learning hubs and the teachers who are providing distance learning from their classrooms, primarily because the local community numbers among the individuals living in East Palo Alto are, the testing positive rate is too high. So the working group believes that we will need to provide more education to families and staff about COVID, tighten safety protocols, and establish assurances so they are followed. If we can tighten up the safety protocols and establish reliable surveillance measures with the learning hubs and the staff already on campus, then the school improvement working group will look into prospects of whether we can create an eye in the storm, in the sense, at each of the schools in order to identify which group of students to bring back on campus incrementally. We also looked at the objective of identifying which groups of students to bring back on campus soonest and why. So once we can mitigate the risks, we will phase in incrementally small group of students for in-person learning. The working groups prioritize, or the working group, the school improvement working group, prioritize the following groups of students to bring back on campus. Students with unique, moderate, and severe needs, and those who need those services, particularly because they're having many challenges accessing curriculum through distance learning and the lessons through distance learning, and them overall needing more assistance with the technology. Students in transition kindergarten, and first grade are also other groups of students we would like to consider phasing in sooner. They are learning how to read, and it is very challenging for staff to do this remotely, let alone keeping them engaged. And then the third group of students that we would like to bring in and who we classify as urgent learners is students who are newcomers. They need the language support to access the curriculum, to also navigate through the technology. Right now, those are the 3 group of students that the school working group has identified. We'll continue to meet with other stakeholder groups, our parent advisory groups, along with RTA, meet with CSCA, and then we are going to have town hall meetings with me once a month as well. So for the trustees, we have staff has several recommendations, and one is to continue with distance learning through the start of the 2nd trimester. And we will do that while we extend distance learning. We will establish safety protocols and surveillance measures that have proven to be successful with the learning hubs and staff who are on site now. We will set the goal date to have plans in place for in-person learning for our most urgent learners by January 25th, with updates presented to the board on November 19th, December 17th, and January 21. We may need to have special board meetings prior to January 21 to maybe vote upon MOUs, to agree upon the students that we would bring back, and obviously the official plan to do in-person learning. The district will continue to engage, again, our school communities through 2-way communication and information gathering via subcommittee meetings, district and school advisory meetings, town hall meetings with me, and then, of course, the surveys that we will constantly be sending out to get up-to-date information from our families. Are there any questions from the board?
Thank you for that presentation, Superintendent Sadaria. Does the board have any questions or comments based on the information shared and the recommendation? And just to clarify, or maybe you did, but I didn't hear it, you said you're proposing for us to stay closed through the beginning of the second trimester.
Yes, I could clarify. The first trimester ends November 20th. And the second trimester, and Cindy, correct me if I'm wrong, ends March 12th. So January 25th, if you consider the week of November for Thanksgiving and the 2 weeks for the winter holidays, January 25th is it's right in the middle of the second trimester.
And you're recommending that we stay in distance learning, but by January 25th, you're going to start having plans in place for our most urgent learners as you.
We would like to have plans in place and then present to the board for action to move forward with in-person learning, given that it's safe to do so and we have measures in place to do so.
Is that the meeting? Is that the scheduled meeting for the board, January 25th? Is that why you have that date?
Good question. January 25th is a Monday, and the three
So
dates
we
that I've
wouldn't see this until February then.
well, so November 19th, December 17th, and January 21st are regular board meetings. And those can be meetings for sure that we give you up-to-date status on where we are with plans, where we are with negotiations with the union, where we are with identifying the families that agree to come in person, identifying teachers who agree to come in person.
Right, but as far as the plans that you'll have in place for in-person learning, you give yourself by January 25th, which is after those dates. So that means that wouldn't come back to the board until February, correct?
It could, or we could have a special board meeting before that as well. So I leave that to trustees to determine, and maybe we change it as we move forward.
So if we provide direction that we're supportive of this recommendation, we are essentially agreeing to continue with 100% distance learning through the end of January at a minimum.
Correct.
Just want to clarify that for the public and for the board. Okay.
The chair.
Yes.
So I'm not sure whether we can take action because this is only listed as a report.
Yeah,
So
she's
I think-
asking for direction, I think.
Oh, okay.
Similar to what we did, I think, about 2 board meetings ago, when we decided to extend it. We didn't do it as an action. It was under direction given.
So right now, the recommendation is, or that we're looking for, is to say that at least, oh no, we can't give an opening date yet.
Yes, but we can't, but this will, I just wanted to clarify for the board that by agreeing with this recommendation and providing the direction to move forward with it, we are agreeing that at a minimum, there will be 100% distance learning through the end of January. That's why I asked for that clarification. So that's where we'll be at. By the end of January, beginning early February, they'll provide us an update about what possibilities there are to bring, as they call urgent learners on campus, or otherwise, who knows, maybe we do get a vaccine and everyone gets shots and whatnot, but that's more or less the recommendation from my understanding.
Correct. And it is also advised to have an end goal and a date, right, to shoot towards. And perhaps the education that and cooperation from community members, perhaps COVID cases go down and we have plans in place to be able to launch sooner.
So other questions or comments from the board based on this recommendation?
Just to note, we do have a speaker from the public when you're ready.
Okay, well, if the board doesn't have anything else to share, we'll hear from the public.
Promoting you, Rhonda White. It's taking a second. Rhonda? Oh. It's not working.
Oh, I can maybe do it.
Give it a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, while we figure out Rhonda, I have a follow-up comment / question. So how are we going to assess urgent learners? Is that based on the ones that we're not getting any response from, that are not submitting work, that have an IEP? What is the criteria to identify who the urgent learners will be? So I have an understanding of if and when we can at least bring some students on campus. What is the criteria we're using for those types of students?
Right. Well, when the school improvement working group came together, we had prioritized a list that was developed, and the top 3 that rose to the top were the ones that I shared with you. So our English language learners who are newcomers, our students with unique needs and moderate to severe needs, and then our young students, TK kinder and first grade.
So, okay.
That's not to say though, President Polito, that we might change those top 3 based on our interactions with the community and families and parents and teachers, that it might be what I think you're leaning towards is those students who are really struggling academically, because too, that was also a group of students we identified.
The ones we're not hearing from, the ones that aren't, tuning in, that aren't submitting homework. I mean, I think all those groups that you identified are also of critical importance. I'm just worried about our kids falling through the cracks and not having the supports they need on campus. Solomon, did we figure out Rhonda's situation?
It's not working. Wait,
here she is.
Here it comes. All right, last minute.
I'm so sorry. My internet connection, I was trying to move around. I was like, just be still, be still. Once again, my name is Rhonda White. I'm the Ravenswood Teachers Association president. I would just like to say thank you for considering to extend the date beyond the first trimester for distance learning. While we all know it's not the best way in which our kids are learning, and it's not the best for our kids. It is what is best right now, safety-wise, and we appreciate having a date that's a little further out so families can better plan and teachers can better plan as well. Just 2 points. One, I'm hoping that as we're doing this plan, that it is also tied to the numbers decreasing in East Palo Alto of the number of cases. And then also I'm a member of that school improvement plan, and I'm hoping that it's also still possible so that if parents decide to stay in distance learning beyond whenever we do come back, that is still an option. I was going to say that as a parent, but I had such a hard time getting in. I didn't want to get out and come back in. So thank you.
Thank you. So when are we initiating like surveys to teachers so we know how many teachers would be willing to come back on campus to be with students that we would potentially bring back that are considered urgent learners?
Yeah, we have connected with the executive board of RTA, and I don't see why we can't do that before we go up Thanksgiving break. I see us being able to do that before the end of October even.
Yeah, I'm asking because I understand the safety and health concerns. I don't minimize them, and they're very real. I'm always looking on how to bring kids back to give them what they need, right? And I'm asking this because if the majority of the board feels comfortable with accepting the recommendation, I want to make sure that we're spending every single day and every single minute figuring out what happens in the case that the numbers do change, that we are in a place where we can bring some students back at a minimum, hopefully most students back. And I want to make sure that we don't get to January 25th and we say, oh, we're in a better place, we can bring students back, but yet we still have a lot of things on our checklist that we have to go through. So that's why I'm asking questions along the lines, have we surveyed teachers? Do we know how many are willing to come back? So we know how many students realistically we could bring back under urgent care. That way you can look at the ELA, the unique needs, and one other one there. You see how many students fit there. Is there more room to bring other students like the students we were talking about? So I have a billion questions running through my mind. And I
They're
just,
probably, yes, President Polito, they're probably the questions too that the School Improvement Working Group have addressed and talked about. And so it's upon us, the staff, to present to you, the board, November 19th, even updates on that specific question. So I don't see why by the next board meeting, we couldn't identify staff interested. It's going to get really messy first too, because if we do have staff that are willing to come and actually have a distance learning class, we have to look at reassignments and things of that sort. So a lot of communication has to go out to families whose classroom teacher now is going to come in person, and their student's going to be handed off to another teacher for distance learning. Those logistics are what we'll be working on.
yeah.
And we'll be presenting that to you.
Or like, do we have all the PPE we need, right? Everything, or do we say, oh, we thought we had everything and we're actually down and we can't have them at all the school sites? I mean, I'm sure the working group, or the school improvement working group, is thinking about all these things, and maybe because I'm not a current member, I don't know that you're thinking about these things, but I'm sure that you are. Because honestly, I would love to see our kids back in the safest way possible, but I would love to see kids back sooner rather than later. But once again, I understand the concern, both for students and staff. So does any board member?
Through the chair, I have a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Will the learning pods that are set up now, will they extend through this time in
Yes.
January? Okay. Just
Yes.
wondering. Thank you.
And I do have a question. If you're done, Ms. Tamara.
Yes, Trustee Guyana. Go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. My question is, I see that you have specific students who is really urgent for them to come back, and I'm very glad for that. I want to make sure this, in case I missed it, these students' special needs are also among these students, right? Because I am.
Yes, that was one of the groups I mentioned, were students with unique.
Yes, thank you. I don't know if you forgot, but that's my number one priority. Being a special education teacher, I know how difficult it is, and right now I wish I could bring them back, because many of them need hand over hand. You know, they can't focus; they're looking somewhere else. So I know these students are missing a lot by being at home, but this is the best we can do. I do not want to jeopardize the students by bringing them sooner, or the teachers, and get things worse. You know, I was one of the first ones to say right away, you know, I'm glad that you're not even thinking or having crazy ideas of bringing them back. But I would like, when the time comes, to make sure that the special kids, especially the ones who are in special day class, I should say, come back and get those services in a better way. Because like I said, right now we're doing what we can. I'm doing what I can as a special ed teacher, but I know that those are the ones that I would like to be there first. Thank you.
So through the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, Superintendent Sidaria, I would, first of all, thank you for making the report. Secondly, I would like for you to put in writing the recommendation from out of the committee, so that there's no confusion as to what is being recommended by the committee, okay? Secondly, one of the ways that we're going to tackle this, and you'll see this in the next item, is by working together with the city and the county to get these numbers down, to get the positivity rates under control. And that is the only way, because what Ms. McKenzie shared with us is that Montessori opened up, right? 120 kids. A week later, they had to close because of the positive cases of the children. A child and a teacher came down testing positive. So they had to close. So that's why there's an urgency for us to work closely with the city and the county to get a handle on this. Okay. Because that's the only way that we can do this, you know?
Yep.
All right.
There's another speaker. John Delamano, I'm promoting you. You should be able to talk in a few seconds. Yep, unmute yourself. There you are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't always attend these meetings, so I just wanted to give a little bit of feedback to the board about how the learning pods are going, just so you can get an idea of what it's like for teachers. I have a student who he definitely struggles with things, has ADHD, and he's in the learning pod, and he's often getting distracted by things that are going on with the other students that are there, as well as when he comes off of mute, there's a bunch of noise and things happening. So it's really difficult to understand him. And even when he does have questions to kind of, it's difficult. And then he's getting distracted by things. And then it's also frustrating because it's like, I'm on campus, not that far away from him. And I wish I could just be able to literally tell him where to click. And that was my only comment, but just kind of share with you while I'm here, what it's kind of like for teachers dealing with some of the pods. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you for your comments and sharing. Well, that's good to know.
No, I mean, it's not, this distance learning thing is not pretty, and there are so many challenges. And so you fix a need to have supervision and a safe place. But then there's always logistics to have to sort out to improve upon. And I can imagine what he mentioned is like it's like how I am right now with some of my cabinet who are here. We're all in the district office, but all in our own spaces. And when there are challenges, we know how to share a screen, but not a second grader, And so there's still so many things to work out.
Through the chair, I have a question. So in the pods, though, there are people there. These pods are staffed by people, right? The organizations facilitating them. So they would be potentially helping them with those types of problems, right?
Oh, and yes, but so even though you have headphones, the mic picks up noise.
Sure.
Yeah, so so there could be support. And if there's continued issues with it not being managed and the technology support not being handled, then we or the pod leader or the organization needs to be informed to be able to support the student better. So any concerns from teachers about the pods, please let your principal know so that we can address how we can improve them.
Please, yes.
Yeah.
Teachers, if you have input to give to the district on how to improve these pods or the issues you're seeing with instruction and interaction, please let the district office know. We want to make this to be a resource and a tool that's going to enhance the experience, not take away and not hinder in any way. So I appreciate the teacher that John that spoke before us, and we encourage all other teachers who are experiencing something similar or that would be informative to please.
Trustee Polito.
Yes.
Just so you know too, Cindy Chin, our Student Services Director, is going to be sending out a survey to our teachers just to get feedback from them about how the pods are going. So that is going to be an opportunity for teachers to also inform us. And we can report out.
Trustee Polito, can I say a few words? I just went to get tested for COVID, and I want to tell you that they're doing much better job. I went not a long time ago, but about a couple of months ago, a month ago, and it was just like, come here, we do it, that's it, we'll give you the results. Now they're giving you education before they give you the testing. So I thought that was really great. I wish everybody could come. We need parents know that they don't even need to have a car. They can go walking or driving. They don't have to have insurance. Sometimes people think, oh, they might require the insurance, but they don't have to. But the best thing is that first they give you that, and they tell you from every five people, one of them is infected. So you have to count how many are here and be more careful. And they say, we know 6 feet is safe. Make it 20 feet whenever you can. So that way you get that education before, and they don't give you the test until you read those brochures and you keep them with you, and that stays with you, because later when I go to the store, I go like 5 here, I better move a little bit away, you know. It's really good message for anybody who is doing it, especially we talk to our teenagers, kids who sometimes may not be too careful, or they don't believe that's gonna happen to them because they're young. But even if it doesn't happen to them, they may be carriers. So all of those little things, I like that it was much better. Thank you. I just thought I'd
Thank you
let
for
know.
sharing. Interesting enough, that was part of our conversation with the superintendent and Trustee Wilson. We had with them about the educational piece and making sure that when people are getting tested, they're equally handing out, the brochures, educational components. We talked about when they're going to do like tracing, like going to schools, to apartment complexes, and we're like, in addition to that, it'd be great if you could hand out the brochures and say, maybe you can test positive, but this is what you need to do to, stay negative. So good to hear that the city is already taking care of that. All right. So I don't hear any significant opposition to.
Is another speaker in the public?
For this item?
Yes.
Okay.
Susan Allen should be able to speak.
Hi, this is Sue Allen, and I am technology support at Castaño School. And you asked about the learning pods, and I'm in and out of every room, empty and full all the time, all over campus. So I just thought I'd tell you my observation. I think they're doing well. The people who are supervising them seem to be doing a good job. The problem is if you have 10 kids in a room who are each on a different Zoom with a different teacher, it's going to get a little noisy. And they do all have headphones, but they are all doing different things, and they are, kindergartners and third graders, and some of them are not always sitting still and being quiet. So I think it's going as well as can be expected, but I can understand Mr. Delmano's concerns about it is difficult because you've got these kids in a classroom who are not all doing the same thing. So I just thought I'd kind of give you my perspective on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing. All right, I don't hear any opposition to your recommendation, so it seems you have the support of the board to move forward with extending distance learning to January 25th. I don't enjoy saying that, even though I'm trying to put a brave face right now. Okay, let's go to item 7C, which is a consideration to approve the resolution for support of Proposition 15.
Right, as you recall, at the last board meeting, we made a presentation, and actually the RTA president spoke on behalf of CSCA and RTA in favor of approving the resolution. And so this is for the board to consider approving the resolution in support of Prop 15, where the district would potentially receive $1 to $2 million annually if the proposition is passed. And it increases property tax for commercial properties that are worth more than $3 million.
Beautiful.
Great. So if there's no further question or comment, since we already had our presentation and discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2020-2021-11.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve item 7C, resolution 2020-2021-11.
I second it.
All right. Before we take roll call, we'll have Trustee Fitch read the resolution.
Resolution number 2020/2021-11, resolution of support, Prop 15, California Schools and Local Communities Funding Act of 2020. Whereas for 4 decades, school districts in California have experienced underinvestment and devastating cuts, etc.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Polito?
Aye.
Vice President Wilson?
Aye.
Trustee Fitch?
Aye.
Trustee Guyona?
Aye.
Trustee Shibomaheen?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. We will now go to item 8A under Human Resources for our testing services with San Mateo County Schools.
Thank you, President Polito. The California Department of Health issued guidance stating that once schools bring students back on campus for at least some in-person instruction, there should be a surveillance testing that is implemented. And the San Mateo County Office of Education has entered into a contract with Curative to provide COVID-19 testing. And this Exhibit B, which we're asking for your approval tonight, would allow us to piggyback off of the main contract that the San Mateo County Office of Ed has entered. So districts essentially determine the cadence for testing and identify who to test. The test kits are ordered and shipped to the sites directly. They're self-administered, and a district employee is responsible for scanning and sending the test back to Curative. Curative bills employees insurance, so there's no administrative fees to the district and no cost to each employee. Employees get their results directly, and a representative in HR, who would be myself, will also get a copy of each result. So for employees, as I mentioned, there's no cost. Again, it's billed directly to the insurance. Curative also has access to the CARES Act funding to pay for employees who are underinsured. So there will be no cost to employees who aren't benefit eligible or don't have insurance. Curative will cover that as well. And then we also wanted to ask for your guidance on student testing. So there's two different availabilities and the cost is different. So one version is a $30 per student cost, and they take 5 swabs from 5 different students and put them in one test tube, and it's a pool testing. So if that tube comes up positive, then they have to do a full retest of all 5 students. The other alternative is a $40 cost per student, and the 5 students are each placed in individual test tubes. The lab mixes it and does a pool test of those, but then can individually test each one of the 5 without having to have the students get retested. So we'd like for you guys to approve the ability to use the Curative for employees, and then give us some guidance around which mechanism of student testing you feel is most appropriate.
Okay. Yes.
Through the chair, thank you. I have a question, Ms. Stone. How much is the cost of the test in the $30 per student option when they'd have to, if they have to retest the students to figure out who, you know, which individual it came from? How much would that be per student?
That's again $30 per student.
Again, $30.
And yeah, and I will say that with the employee testing, if there is a staff person who tests positive, Curative will cover the cost to test the entire student pool that employee works directly with. So we're talking about a cohort and the teacher tests positive, then Curative will pay for the test of that cohort of students. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. One more, actually. Thank you for asking, President Polito. And so then in the case of the $40 per student, we would not have to be charged again because they have the individual swabs.
That's right. So you save $20 at the end of the day if a second test is needed.
Okay. Okay.
Because you would essentially be paying $60 for one student for 2 tests if needed, or $40 for 2 tests if needed.
Yep.
The gamble is whether or not you need the second test.
And actually it would be more than that too, because you'd have to do another $30 per each one of the 5 in the first case, right? To see which one, versus in the second case, there would be nothing, period.
Yes, that's a good point. Yes, that's right.
So which do you prefer, Trustee Shabbat, based on that?
No, it's a gamble, right? Of course I would want to save money, but you know, it's all good. $30 per student is good until somebody, you know, one comes back positive. And then, that's where you'll see the money, the charge. So I really don't know. I mean, I'm tempted to just go $40 per student, just in case, but I don't know. Are you guys making a recommendation, Ms. Stone?
Superintendent, do you have a recommendation?
Well, I want to be very realistic and state that we can't assure 100% that no one is ever going to get COVID on our campuses. So I think in the long run, we may end up saving money by going with, I don't know if it's saving money, but we're going to have cases arise. And so with that in mind.
Because we're living in an area that already is testing so high that even when we do control it,
yeah,
we're more likely than not going to have a positive case here and there.
I believe so.
Yes, Trustee Wilson.
Yeah, I was going to say that I prefer to do the $40 test. I don't think the data shows, the data from East Palo Alto shows that 1 in 5 people test positive. Now, we haven't tested kids already, so this will be the first time that we're testing the children. But I would be more comfortable doing the $40 one rather than do a pool and then have to test, because to me, it's inevitable that out of those 5, somebody's going to test positive.
To the chair, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So these are costs for the students. If we have students who can't afford this cost, is there a way for us to cover it?
The cost would be completely on the district, 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, there would be no cost to student.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just wondering if there is, I'd rather go for the choice that right now everybody else is going, because at the long run we could pay more money than we're trying to save. But I'm wondering if there is any organization like Stanford who could give us a break, somehow offer it for free,
Trustee Wilson?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that we would get reimbursed based on the federal COVID test. There's funding out there, and we're fortunate in that, we have foundation funding, et cetera. I think the priority is to make sure that we can test as many children and identify the positive rates. I also, if I could add, this is a little bit outside of the money issue, but I wanted to say this, and I should have maybe said it at the last time, but one of the things that the city also shared with us is that the positivity rates are going up because of parties and gatherings that people are having at their homes. And that there are the most, and that they have found that the COVID virus is actually mutating in Latino men between the ages of 19 and 24. So, and some of them are asymptomatic. They have minor body aches, but they test positive. So, there's a lot of stuff that has to be done here. So I would say that, at least for me, I don't think we should be even talking about a difference of $10. We should provide the individualized testing so that we can really be able to work with the community and get the surveillance in place, get the tracing in place, get the quarantining in place, because that's the only way that we're going to squash this in the community.
Okay. I think testing people is a step, but I don't know if that's how we're going to squash it if we don't change our behaviors, right?
No, that's part of the education. It's not just the testing, but it's all of that. The way that they do it, because they were very frank. There's an apartment building where there's 20 units that people are tested positive out of. And so what they do is that they go in and they really do provide education, talking to the families about what they should and should not do, and then also isolating people when necessary. So it's a combination of all of that, you know, and again, a massive, we're looking for, they're going around monitoring the stores too, because that was a concern that was brought up. And so there's going to be a stepped up effort to really put things in place and to better educate the community so that they don't take this so casually.
So I may have missed this, but please remind me if this wasn't already mentioned. How are we selecting who to test, and are parents and students able to opt out if they're not showing symptoms? Like, what rights do students and parents have if they're not symptomatic to being tested or not?
Well,
so,
I'm
sorry, go ahead, Trustee Wilson. No, go ahead.
Part of what we have to do is to encourage them to have the kids tested.
No, I get that. I'm just trying to say, what is the procedure and process that is in place to deal with how and when you test students?
So the county office hasn't issued any guidance around student testing as of now. That's something they're still working on. What we have been told is that we cannot require students to be tested, and we cannot refuse to have them in the schools because they refuse to be tested. But again, it goes around, you know, what Trustee Wilson was saying, to encourage that sort of safety mindset.
So I asked that because in that case, shouldn't we have a waiver going home with students to parents so they sign off and say, and we're encouraged, right, we give them the educational piece and why it's important to do this. And then they can sign off and say, yes, you can test my kid. Because what I don't want happening is that, you know, we're testing, parents are not aware, and this becomes a problem for us because we are not able to require anyone to test. So why not get ahead of it, you know, create an educational brochure that we share with parents and say that we're offering this on our campus and sign off on, you know, saying that it's okay to test my student.
Well, through the chair, I didn't think that we were doing the actual testing. We were opening up the school sites to make it available, and the parents would be bringing their kids to be tested. I wasn't under the impression, and I don't think we should take that on, that we should be the one actually administering the test.
No, right. I wasn't thinking that we were administering the test, but I know that's happening on our campuses and it's happening with our students. So I'm just trying to figure out how this is getting shared out to parents about what's happening on campus. So is it like we're just letting all parents know you can get your kid tested here, so come, and based on them showing up with their kids, they get tested? Or is it like when you come back to campus, this is where we're directing you to go get tested? You know, that's where my question is from.
Yeah, we actually have been in conversations with other pediatricians and other agencies that could support with testing. There is a van that has gone to San Mateo High School, for example, to administer testing. And if there is I believe it's the waiver that's signed off by the parent, then we can go ahead and do the testing for students. So we'll look into all of that. And I think it's something that we want to present to families, that if you are bringing children in-person learning, these are things that we would want to have in place.
Right. And I just want to, I'm raising these questions because I want to be transparent with parents and clear about what's happening. If I was a parent and people are testing my kid and I don't know what's going on, I'm not going to be a happy parent. Even if it's for the safety and well-being of the community, of the school community, I still need to know as a parent and make that choice for myself and my student. So as long as we're going to be putting something in place that allows us to check off that box about that communication piece and what that process is going to look like, so that, you know, it's clear and people don't feel like they're being forced to do things that, you know, they don't want to do. I'm sure, I don't see it being an issue, but I just want to protect the district and also be considerate of families and their options.
So if I could add one thing, and Tony, I'm not sure, you may have said it and I didn't hear it, but the test results with this new test or this test that will be used, it's a 24 to 48 hour turnaround.
That's right. So it's a 48 hours once it's received to the lab. and the lab we'll be using is in San Dimas. So we anticipate getting results within 48 hours to 72 hours between the time that the employee and or student actually physically administers the test.
Okay, so I think I heard from a trustee or two that they were leaning towards a $40 per student option, and I think that was a recommendation of the superintendent as well. Is anyone opposed to that? Okay, so I think that's a direct, I know this is an action item, but just so you know that when we do approve of it, the direction of the board is to go with the $40 option. All right, so if there are no public comments and there's no more discussion, I will entertain a motion to approve item 8A.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I'll make the motion that we approve of item 8A, the COVID testing services agreement with the San Mateo County Schools.
I second it.
Roll call, please.
President Polito,
I'm going to say yes, but with that follow-up about procedures and communication with parents and families.
Vice President Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Guyona. I'm sorry, Trustee Fitch, I gotta go in order.
Yes.
Trustee Guyona. I'm sorry, you're muted.
Yes.
Trustee Chabot Maheen.
Yes.
All right, motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. We're going to move to item 9A we have an addendum to the learning continuity and attendance plan.
Yes, good evening, Board of Trustees. Laura Brennan, Director of Curriculum and Instruction. I'll present this item. We submitted our learning continuity and attendance plan as approved by you, the board, in September to the San Mateo County Office of Education. The county office then reviewed our plan, and in the case for any district where they noticed an area that needed revisions or improvements, they gave feedback to that district. So the feedback that we have received is listed in the board agenda and states that in sections where a supporting document is referenced, to include a brief summary of the content and a hyperlink to the supporting document. So our feedback was basically procedural because we have actually a much longer recovery plan that you've reviewed since the summer that we've been working on that outlines all of our context around instruction, operations, et cetera, under COVID. And there's quite a few places where we referenced our recovery plan in our continuity plan. And so the county was requesting that in each of those sections, we included a short summary of the content and a hyperlink to the recovery plan. So the attachment that you see as the addendum to the learning continuity and attendance plan is the updated version. Okay. And so that is what we submit to you today for your approval.
Thank you. Questions or comments from the board? No. Are there any speakers on this item? If so, please raise your hand.
No one is raising their hand.
All right, so I will entertain a motion to approve item 9A.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve item 9A.
I second it.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona,
Aye.
Trustee Chabot Maheen.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. That takes us to item 10, Technology Department, and this will be for an MOU with Street Code Academy to provide tech support and training for our families.
Through the chair,
Yes.
I'm going to recuse myself from the conversation and vote, obviously, due to a conflict of interest. So,
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Solomon Hill, Director of Technology for the school district. In my many, many years at Ravenswood, I've never received so many of the same comments from so many stakeholders. And that is that parents and families and students need more tech support. Students, I'm hearing from parents when we're handing out hotspots, some of them are saying, all of a sudden I'm the one that has to be tech support for my child at home. Teachers are, doing real-time tech support in their classrooms sometimes, which has been holding up instruction and impacting some of the results they can have. Sometimes when a student, something happens in real time to them, it can slow down the whole class. Principals, school secretaries, everyone's really been focused on making sure distance learning works, but it's been a resounding plea for more help. I'm proud that my staff has stepped up its game, and we provide regular support for families, on-campus support. So families come to us and we hand out devices and swap things out. We support teachers, of course, and the schools as well. But students need more real-time support at home for us to have better distance learning outcomes. And so Superintendent Sadaria, the cabinet, we put our heads together to start figuring out, who in the community could really help us step up our game, and maybe even do something that's kind of innovative to help our students, because our community has different needs than some surrounding communities around technology, as everyone here knows. So, the name of Street Code Academy came up very quickly in that conversation, because within our own community, there's a national class organization that has looked at some of these issues, that is addressing some of these issues, and that has a lot of technical people, right there in our community, from our community. And so we engaged Street Code, and Aaron Barron here is here to try to talk about his proposal to address the need. I do want to say that we're proud to partner with Street Code. This is my first, they actually helped us pro bono over the summer. A couple of them were helping us man our call help desk that we were doing for staff and for students. This is a big lift from that. And I'll let Aaron talk about how his innovative way to support our students and families with our tech support program. You can go, Aaron.
Thank you, Solomon. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for just giving me a couple moments of your time. I know you all are busy, so thank you, Board President Polito, Vice President Wilson, the Board of Trustees, Superintendent Gina, and the board for your time. I'm going to be sharing my screen and giving you what I hope to be a 5-minute presentation of a larger conversation, a Q&A. So what I want to bring to you all today is a proposal for a Ravenswood Tech Support Program, a collaboration between Ravenswood City School District and Street Code Academy. I first very briefly just want to give a little bit of background behind what Street Code is for those who are unaware. Street Code has been serving East Palo Alto since 2014. Our mission has been to empower communities of colors with mindset, skills, and access to participate in this tech innovation economy. The best way I can describe it is this image below. We're serving as the bridge between communities of colors and the innovation opportunities, not only in our backyard, but across the globe. And since we've launched, we've been able to serve 4,500 students. We've stayed local, even as we've gone online because of COVID. Most students that participate, a lot of them are coming from our community. We've offered over 40,000 hours of free tech classes, as well as several other stats. And since COVID launched, we've been able to go online, and we've secured over 500 computers for our community while providing 9,500 hours of free online tech education. And this was so important because, as you see on the graph at the bottom, when we surveyed our community, we realized that you see that tab that says 0 computers. That's how many computers were in the household before we provide them a laptop. So that's around half of our community. And you can only imagine, actually, you don't even have to imagine that hard, how much that affects virtual education and learning. And I know Ravenswood had a very similar issue, and you all really stepped up, met the call, providing over 500 hotspots, thousands of laptops, and the work was beyond challenging, and you all met it. And now that we're in the the heat of the moment, now that we're actually in school, we are noticing that these devices still need help, and people and families still need help with the tech support. After talking a bit with Solomon, we've seen that 20% of students in most of the classes need tech support. And so that's 1 out of every 5. And that may not be a startling number to you, but consider the fact that this compounds and it's taking about 50% of class time spent addressing these tech support needs, and just how crucial instruction time is being lost for the teachers and the students, and thereby the families in a negative way. And now what I want to do is spend the majority of the time talking about approach. We are aiming to provide Ravenswood Elementary Schools and students and families the Zoom support and tech literacy they need to succeed. This is a 3-pronged approach. The first being a permanent on-call Zoom support link that's available to teachers and on our website. And if you all like, even on your website, for students to get immediate assistance. We'll be using Zoom functionalities to address software issues, and if need be, you can actually use Zoom capabilities to control people's screens temporarily only through the app to also address common software issues. This can all be done virtually. The second is a bilingual phone line. You just imagine this as the IT hotline, a Google Voice number that people can call, especially if they're unable to get on Zoom. And the third thing is tech literacy education. And this is all about creating stronger ties to families with family-friendly information sessions, frequently asked questions, support documentation, and potentially even open office hours for people to come through and really get their common issues addressed. This technology that we have, it's a tool, and even though we use it for school, obviously it can be used for so many other things, and we want to be able to make the unfamiliar less so. In addition, we will also be continuing to direct all hardware issues to Solomon's open hours, as well as cataloging these ongoing issues in the hope that we can find some reoccurrences, create some scripts that can really help reduce these over time. Our ask for you today is a budget of $50,000 to hire 2 to 3 additional staff members to serve the Ravenswood Elementary School for the 2020-2021 academic school year. And I want to break this up into phases, describing what are some of the deliverables that we hope to achieve in this time. Phase 1, which could hopefully launch in a couple weeks, would purely be to get the majority of the students back in class in less than 5 minutes. Again, with our comprehensive plan of a bilingual phone line, bilingual Zoom support, and supporting documentation, we hope that a lot of these issues we can see the trends, we can quell them in the beginning of the day, and over time, these become less and less. Phase 2, and this can be earlier, depending on how effective we are on phase 1, but we want to ramp up to a full all-day support, as well as expanding into a middle school coverage. And we want to be able to expand to all of the schools in the district as well. And again, that's depending on, I think really that number came from the fact that we've been told that the 3rd and 4th graders are having the majority of the issues, and the elementary schools are having a majority of the issues because this is more of their first time going through things like this. So that's where that came from, just to give a bit more context. Phase 3, which would be launching in June 2021, and that would just be depending on what you all want to do next, is to help establish a comprehensive tech literacy program. So really baking in this Ravenswood support program into the foundation of what you guys do. The same way you all had Smart Week at the beginning of the year, how can we build workshops, additional series of office hours? How can we build foundational relationships with the teachers? That could be something that we could definitely work towards, and we're excited to work towards. So again, this is a $50K ask of a $120,000 total budget. And for those who would want to know about how we got that number, which I'm sure most of you all would, we can definitely get into this now, but we just want you to understand that this cost is really just going towards the direct hiring of these 3 instructors part-time who will be directly servicing your students. We're not asking you to bankroll any of our employees, existing or new. In fact, this is a part-time position. You can see here that it's only covering the time until June 2021, the end of the school year. And then again, I have in here just the fact that we are launching with a small amount of classrooms, but hopefully to expand to middle school students and get everybody over time. And then you can see for the rest how everything else kind of breaks down. I won't go into it for now, but I'm more than happy to talk about it. So we're asking to cover 40% of the budget that all is going towards these part-time employees to service you all. So I will stop there, see if there are any questions.
Thank you for that presentation, and we will definitely open it up for questions or comments from the board at this time.
So through the chair.
Yes.
So I have a question. I guess some clarification is needed. In the proposal that was submitted to the district, it says that there's an immediate, and it was a couple of cents, so I'm not sure which one we should be following, which is what the issue is. So this one is the one where they have the light blue or the aqua blue tab on Street Code Academy.
Okay.
It might be your letterhead, I guess it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so the proposal has 4 pages or something. Or 3 pages, I'm sorry. But my question is that on the page, it says the needs. It says the first bullet says hire part-time street code employees to serve the overall, which I don't have a problem with. Then the second bullet says immediately we need to train, onboard, and hire 2-3 individuals by the launch date. And in that third sub-bullet, or the second sub-bullet, it says $16.24 per month. Okay. So when I do the math of $16.24 per month times 3 people times 8 months, I don't get $50,000. So that's what my question is.
Thank you. Let me try to reference to see where that number is coming from.
It's pretty close.
No, it's not. 1624 times 3 is about $5,000 a month. And so that's close to 40,000, not 50. And that's why I was questioning. What is the cost?
Yes, so thank you for that. I actually think what would be best is if I can call in my CEO, Tunde, to see if he can actually help provide some guidance for this number.
Okay.
Okay, well, while you do that, does anyone?
He's Solomon, if you can let Tunde in, his hand is raised.
He's in.
Okay, Trustee Wilson, Polito, sorry. Okay.
Hello there. Good evening. So I handle the budget element. Sorry, Aaron, for that. We estimated the initial report to you, Sharifa, was an estimate that we did per hour at the minimum. And what I told them is, if we're going to get quality people, we need to put a buffer in there that will allow us to get the most talented people. And so we rounded it up to $2,000 per month per person. That's how we got $50,000.
Okay. That's why I was like, wait, yeah.
Yeah, that was the initial draft.
So I have no problem whatsoever with the kind of support and the quality, because I know that the parents and the students need this kind of support. And I'm very pleased that we have a local organization that can provide that support. I think that our Street Code does, in fact, have a good reputation in the community. It works with local people. And I think that our community members will be comfortable interacting with them through to get the tech support that they need. That's the most important part, is for people to be open and say, I don't know how to do this. I need some help. So again, I think that Street Code is the right organization, and I don't have a problem supporting this. I was just questioning the dollars because I do the math.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board?
Just to clarify, they're going to be billing us, I think, monthly or quarterly. So if like they're not able to find employees, et cetera, it's not a set fee. So I do want to clarify that.
Okay, so that brings me to a couple questions I have. So it's going to be on a quarterly basis because I see it going through June 2021, but we don't necessarily know that we're going to be either distance learning or hybrid blended learning. There's a possibility we might be able to come back fully at 100% on campus, which is why I was wondering why the contract is through June 2021 versus what we currently have committed to, Gina, which is through the end of January. But I don't know if that answers my question, that because they're billing quarterly, if we don't continue to use them, is that gonna commit us to 50,000?
Thank you for bringing that. I think our RTA president spoke briefly about it, mentioned that we potentially may want to offer distance learning as an option for families this year, because that's also part of our recovery plan, was to have a hybrid model and offer distance learning for our families. There will be a need for that tech support because of that. And also in the proposal, and Solomon, correct me, is that we want to build capacity, technology capacity for our community. And so there will be also an opportunity for Street Code to provide educational sessions for our families as part of the proposal.
If we reopen and there's a vaccine and this goes away in the near future, there won't be an option for distance learning. It'll go back to teachers in classrooms, students in classrooms. That only works with the blended hybrid model that gives you an option because we're under COVID, right? So
yeah, I'm also would make the suggestion that we are going to not go back to what was to what we know as normal, but we are going to rely on technology as a tool for students to utilize on a daily basis to learn, not just to type essays anymore, but to learn and produce and submit work. And so the increase of use of technology is going to be more. And I argue that we will need this support.
okay, and that kind of brings me to my other comment question. So, and maybe I misunderstood it. I heard that the focus is going to be with the 3rd and 4th graders. So, or maybe that's just where the highest need is. But I wanted to know for the first week. Okay.
Yeah,
But
that's where we're launching.
Or will go across all grades, right? Okay, just wanted to make sure that. And then lastly, what budget are we paying this $50,000 out of?
So because we're moving very quickly, we have some potential donors lined up and some strong almost commitments, but we don't have a firm enough commitment for me to speak publicly about that, but it will not be coming from general fund.
So, but since we don't have a confirmed commitment, and let's say we wouldn't get those potential funds, where would this money come from?
So, through the chair.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but isn't this COVID related?
Yes.
So there we go again.
No, but we've used up all that money. They've already allocated that money.
I'm going to punt to Will, who
Okay.
is going to end up punting to him on this.
Thanks, Solomon. I'll help you out here. You know, we have several sources of possible funding for this. Sharifa is right. We do have some COVID funds available potentially for this. However, we do have some donors who have expressed significant interest in this. And I think, you know, we don't necessarily want to name folks yet because we don't have agreements signed at the moment, although I think they're coming. We've also talked to REF, and I know that REF has expressed significant interest and will pay for this. So there are a bunch of different options for paying for this. We want to be a little bit intentionally coy here, just not to scare off any possible funders, because we do think we have a couple who are really interested, who are new, who we could bring into the district. But I can promise you that general fund dollars will not be going to cover this cost.
Okay, so that is the commitment, not general fund dollars. Donors, whoever it may be, is still being worked out. Got it. So overall, I've, you know, like Trustee Wilson said, I've heard positive things about Street Code and the work they're doing in the community. So I'm in support of using a local nonprofit to help us with this work. What I'm really excited about was in the presentation, I was wondering, I'm like bilingual, right? We have 60% Latino students, right? A lot of them and their parents don't speak Spanish. And then I saw that bilingual, what was it? Phone line. And that answered my immediate concern. So I was really, really happy to see that you are being very intentional about helping all of our families in whatever capacity that they need. So that was a big thumbs up for me.
So if I could, through the chair, if I could add, I want to support the notion of providing ongoing tech support at our schools for the staff, as well as for setting it up so that parents can be trained. I think the more that we provide our students with tech skills in the elementary grade, that it will really just help them in the long run as they progress on to middle school and to high school. So, and then helping the parents is really gonna be a very good thing to do too. So I support the idea of, even if we go back to in-person, to continuing to provide, to have a relationship with Street Code to provide that kind of ongoing tech support for families and staff.
The MOU is through June 2021, so
Yeah.
we have that. And I would just ask that we look at the different scenarios in which we would be working with Street Code, given if we're still 100% distance learning, if we're in a blended model, and if we completely come back 100%, so that we're able to use their talent in the best way possible, given different scenarios.
Absolutely. We're in Silicon Valley, and what we've been doing these last many months is really going to change our instructional practice moving forward. And what that looks like exactly, we don't know, but we know it is. So.
Got it. All right. If there are no other questions or comments, unless we have a public comment? Oh, Trustee Galana, yes.
Yeah, I just want to say that this is the best thing it could happen. We really need the support. I'm always thinking of those families who get stuck. I mean, not too long ago, I was in a meeting and I couldn't get in right away because I was having difficulties that I never had before. So, and I know that this happens to the students too. Sometimes the parents call me, we can't get in, and I have to stop and go help them out, call them and say, click here, click there. And yes, it takes time from instruction. As a teacher, I am glad that this is gonna be there. It's like, I don't know how, but my prayers were answered, and I'm glad that they're gonna be doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Glad to hear that you are here for our community, our students, all students, and including, like Ms. Pulido said, Trustee Pulido said, the ones who don't speak the language. That's even the best thing. Thank you.
We have 2 speakers from the public. We'll start with, if it's the right time.
Yes, I was going to say, and then our goal is to get someone to speak. What is it? Tagalog? What is Samoan and
Tongan?
The Tongan native language dialect? I can't remember, but it'd be great if we aim towards having multi-language support. So we have a speaker.
Rhonda White, you can speak now.
Hi, RTA President. I just wanted to say thank you to Solomon, his team, Gina and Will, for making it possible for us to partner with Street Code. The teachers will greatly appreciate it. Technology is one of our issues, and so we appreciate the team being so quick in listening and action and taking action, and not taking a long time to come up with a viable solution, which is community oriented, which more importantly will help us with our instruction and allow students to continue to learn. So we appreciate and look forward to this partnership with Street Code. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have another speaker, Solomon, you said?
Another speaker, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's Odiambo. I hope I said that right. I'm promoting you. There's something wrong with the internet connection. It's not. Odiambo, are you still online? Okay. Nope, it's not. It's not allowing me to promote them. Oh, wait a minute. No.
Okay, well, we'll have to figure out what that's about, Solomon, because I think we were having problems with Rhonda too. Maybe it's our connectivity. I don't know. It's on our end or their end, but all right. So let's move to make a motion. So I'll entertain a motion to approve item 10A.
I'll make a motion to approve item 10A.
I second it.
I'm sorry, Odiumbo, you just were able to join, so before the vote. Do you want to speak still? No, something's wrong with their connection. Okay, I apologize, it's not working.
Roll call, please. Superintendent Sidaria.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0. Thank you all very much.
Through the chair,
Yes.
make sure that the record shows that Trustee Shabomahim recused herself.
Yes, she stated at the beginning of the agenda item she was recusing herself for conflict of interest. Okay.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you for the presentation again. Look
Thank you
forward to
very
working
much.
with you all.
Through the chair, I told them to be ready for you. I don't know about those messed up numbers on the draft. I said, they're tough. Y'all better watch out. No. They don't play.
Well, they were able to provide answers, so that's the good part.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sometimes we ask the questions and they don't have the answers, so that's the good part. All right. So Business Department, Measure H&S, Prop 39.
Speaking of not always having the answers, Shin Green is in the audience and may jump in if I get called on a question I don't have the answer for, but I'm hoping this can be relatively quick, knowing that it's somewhat late in the evening. As many of you know, requirement to state law for the two bonds, the GO bonds that we passed over the last few years, we do need to have a citizens oversight committee. We had one fairly recently. I think COVID has created some challenge there. And we're sort of reforming the group. The group should have 7 members on it. We currently have 4 applications, which we're hoping you can approve here tonight. We do have sort of plans in place to bring in more to the oversight committee, and we hope to get more. So if there's any members of the community listening tonight who'd like to get involved with overseeing our bonds and really understanding sort of the facilities investments that we're making, why we're making them, how we're making them, we would recommend reaching out to me or the superintendent to learn more. We provided a little bit of information about the applicants we have. They seem qualified and we're excited to recommend them for your approval tonight. And we're hoping to get this group meeting relatively soon in order for them to sort of fulfill their fiduciary duties. Are there any questions? And if there are, I might have to lean on Shin a little bit here, but I think I can help with here.
Through the chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Just wondering how these recommendations for the committee are made. Like, yeah, how does that start?
We've encouraged members of the community to apply through, I think, our website. We've reached out to various members of the community. I want to call out Maria in the superintendent's office, who really did a lot of the legwork and pulling together folks, chasing them down, making sure they sort of filled out their applications correctly. We did some newsletter advertisements lately. I'm sure there were many other ways that we sort of reached out to folks. It was on our website, maybe elsewhere. And then there was sort of a vetting process and conversations were had to make sure they understand what the roles are. I'm not sure, Superintendent or Mr. Green, if there's anything to add there. That's great.
Maybe for future purposes, I guess if you inform us at a public meeting and ask the board, we can also help do recruitment, because it seems like we barely have 4 and that's allowable for a quorum, but if someone's missing, they can't conduct business. So if you all ever need help recruiting, it's always great to make an announcement here and ask board members to submit names of people that might be available and willing, just for future.
Not only is that a great recommendation, I'd actually like to take advantage of that to highlight our budget working group, which I think we're looking for a couple of parents. So if there are any parents listening right now, or if any of the board members know parents who are good with numbers, we are going to spend, as some of the trustees who join can validate, we're going to be looking at a lot of graphs and numbers. But if there's parents who are interested, please reach out to myself or the superintendent. So thank you for that suggestion. I will take you up on it again in the future, I'm sure.
Good. Other questions or comments from the board regarding this item? So are we able to add on after this vote?
We are, and we are actively looking to as well. So part of our sense of urgency here is to get the 4 together so that we can start meeting. And then as we are able to solicit more, again, hopefully the trustees have recommendations, we can continue to add.
Okay, so board, if you know anyone, please send them Will's way. All right, if there is no public comments and we're done with discussion, I will entertain a motion to approve item 11A.
Through the chair.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make the motion that we approve of item 11A, which is approving of the Measure H and Measure S, Prop 39, Citizens Oversight Committee.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Yes.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona,
Aye.
Trustee Shibomahin.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries 5-0. That will take us to item 12, which is the Board of Trustees section. There are no absent members tonight, so we can go to 12B, which is board policy revisions for second reading and action. So Superintendent Sidari, I don't know if you have anything else to add before we.
I don't. At the first reading, it was made known that there were highlights of changes and to bring to the attention to the board. And so now it's for action.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve item 12B.
Through the chair, I'll make a motion to approve item 12B.
I will second. Roll call, please.
President Polito,
Aye.
Vice President Wilson,
Aye.
Trustee Fitch,
Aye.
Trustee Guyona,
Aye.
Trustee Shibomahin.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. That leaves us near the very end. And next we have board communication. I'd like to offer the first right to speak to Trustee Fitch, who let us know she wanted to share something with the board and community.
Thank you. It is with a sad and heavy heart that I must announce my resignation from the Ravenswood City School Board.
What?
Due to unforeseen family circumstances, I will no longer be a resident of East Palo Alto and therefore be unable to serve on the board. It has been an absolute honor to work alongside such brilliant, passionate, and dedicated people. I appreciate everyone's support and respect for the privacy of my family during this time. I know that if there's ever a community that understands the importance of family, it is the community of Ravenswood. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Trustee Fitch, for sharing that with us. I know that's very, very hard for you. I'm sure board members have words to provide during this time. I know Trustee Wilson, you're one of the first to want to share some words.
So, wow. I know that, Stephanie, that you have been very dedicated to this work, that you came into this really wanting to have an impact on the children of this community. I know that you have the skills and the expertise and have made valuable contributions during the time that you've been here. It is a significant loss, and I'm really sorry that your family is going through this, and that we'll be losing you from the community. So I want to just personally thank you and tell you that it has been an honor to work alongside of you. You have really helped to bring this board together, and we now have a good reputation out there of really working together and focusing on the children. So again, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Wilson. Trustee Gawana, do you want to go next? Because I know Trustee Shabon-Mahin's trying to gather herself. I see her over there. You might need a minute.
Wow, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. I remember when you first ran for school board and you were campaigning, I was like, she's the one that I want to vote for. And I was very happy, and I'm still very happy when you came, because that changed the whole leadership thing, and it moved our district in another direction. And I feel like I'm shivering. I don't have words to say, but I will miss you a lot. And wherever you go, you're gonna do just fine, because you have the skills to do the kind of work you're doing wherever you're gonna be going. Well, you'll be missed, and it's gonna be impossible to repair. Not to repair, impossible to for somebody to take your place. Your shoes are very difficult to fill. Sorry about that. Are you leaving?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Gawana. Trustee Shabon-Mahin, do you want to take a shot?
Sure. Thank you, President Polito. Y'all know I'm emotional, so forgive me. But Trustee Fitch, I'm going to say Stephanie, because even though you're a fellow trustee of mine, you've become a really good friend of mine over these past 2 years. And sorry. And I just want to echo the gratitude and appreciation that the other trustees have shared. You also struck me. I remember being on the campaign trails, and when I met you and thinking, wow, I almost dropped out, because I was like, oh, if she's running, it's all good. Like, she got it. And so it's really been, I think, a privilege and an honor and a blessing to be at the dais alongside you, as well as the other ladies who are trustees on the board. I think, for our relationship, we came in together. We went to all those long trainings together, doodling when we should have been paying attention and having fun and trying to be, trying to learn what we could and move fast. And maybe we made some mistakes, and maybe we did some good stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But we were in it together, and I really appreciate that partnership with you, and especially that friendship. And wherever you go, I'm sure you've made many people, many friends who are here on this call right now, who will be, in your life forever. And so I just want you to know that this is not the end for your relationship with me. At least I'm not going to let it go. So wherever you are, I'm here for you if you need anything, and I will always be your friend. So thank you for your service to the community. Again, it's been inspiring to see someone who grew up here. I didn't have the privilege of growing up here, but to see someone to grow up here, be a child in this community, be a student with other folks in the surrounding community, and then to come back and serve the community, like, that's the dream. That's why so many people here do the hard work every day. And so you're a product of that hard work. So congratulations, and cheers to whatever's next in the journey. And please stay in touch. Sorry to be so long-winded, President Polito.
No, absolutely. It's definitely the moment and the time to share any heartfelt comments. And just like the rest of the trustees said, Trustee Fitch, we value the time that you have participated on this board. I think you've been an important perspective. I think I was happy to have another EPA native on the board, right? For so long, I was the only one. And we shared other commonalities. I really went to the same school, some of the same schools. And it was great having that younger, fresh, perspective at the table. A lot of people don't know this about me, and I don't share it. So people that
so people won't ask me, but I'm pretty good at calling winners when I see statements. I'll say that person's going to win, that person's going to win. And 9 out of 10 times I'm right. And I remember reading your statement when we were running for office and I was actually running in that same campaign. And I remember reading your statement. I said, she's good, she's going to win. And here you are, almost 2 years later. We've been through a lot as a board, and we've obviously had some bumps on the road, but I think that we've been able to accomplish a lot together in these last 2 years. And I think you have a lot to be proud of for your time here, even if it's been cut short. And, you know, to Trustee Gauna's point, I think wherever you go, you're going to continue to lead and be an advocate for the things that you believe in. So you will be missed. And we thank you for the public service that you've provided to your community, to these students, to our staff, and we're wishing you all the best. And I'm sure it's not a goodbye forever. I'm positive we will see you around. So thank you very much for your service.
Thank you so much.
Oh, what a way to end a meeting, right? No one.
Through the chair. I'm not sure if Trustee Gauna wanted to share anything. Trustee Gauna?
She did.
I was just gonna say that you kind of noticed that I wanted to talk, right?
I'd like to follow after.
You're reading minds. I felt so proud to have your sign outside my house. When you brought it in, I said, bring it in. And something that you did, you treated my daughter who is with special needs so well. She loves you. She said, Mom, she's great. She's gonna win, and she will make. Making it so easy for us to vote because you put who over there. They don't need to think anymore. They say, we believe that you have this person here is for a good reason. But I want to tell you that many people mistreat my daughter and attack her. She is a child with special needs, and that hurts a lot. And you gave her some values that she admires you, and she sees you as a friend. Thank you for that. Not that many people do that, especially when they have high positions, they're so well educated, and that's something that I really appreciate of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Yes.
President Polito. Trustee Fitch, thank you so much for being steady, consistent. You speak straight to the point, and so I will do the same. You say what you mean, and you mean what you say. And I know that this governance board has gone through a norming, storming, and now we're at a performing stage. And I'm really proud of what this governance team has been able to do. And yes, thank you for your contribution to where we are today.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. A big thank you. Oh, God. I don't know if anyone has any communication after that. I don't even know how you follow that, but we are very much at the end of our meeting tonight. So we will adjourn this meeting in honor of Trustee Fitch. It's 9:24 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you.